This episode of the Bottle Rocket podcast is brought to you by GamerClips.tv. Play, share and watch video game frags and clips with hundreds more added every day. Hit the link in the comments section to check them out. I like a little warm up.
Yeah,
obviously.
Let's do warm ups next time. You know what? Right. When you're at a gig and you've got that guy, what do on the microphone. Yeah. Let's be that
guy. Right. Okay. So hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Bottle Rocket podcast with me, Chris.
And me, Jake.
And me, Ben.
So this week I just wanted to chat a bit about Stoke Con Trent.
Hell yeah!
Stoke Con Trent. I like it.
Which, for people who don't know what it is, it's our first Comic-Con event, sort of style geek fest. It's the sort of first of its kind in our little town.
They thought long and hard about that pun, didn't they? Really,
it's a great pun.
Yeah. I've cracked it, guys. I can imagine that meeting going on till about 3 a.m. They've all ordered kind of pizza and Chinese food, and it's like we can add a C here.
Job done.
And it's done.
Let's call it a night.
We can go home.
So we've got an array of celebrities coming down to our little city in the Midlands.
Yeah.
Are we going to name drop a few of those?
I think we're going to have to name drop a few just for...
Get name dropping.
We've got Mr. Colin Baker, the Sixth Doctor.
Ah! That's pretty cool.
That's very cool. We've also got a few of the guys from Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Greedo from Star Wars.
Yeah, boy.
You know, so everyone gets to ask him the only question he's probably ever heard in his life.
Exactly.
Two shots first.
It's like, I've done other things.
I've done other things in other films.
I'm also an amazing dancer.
Yeah. I'm appearing this year at the Royal Shakespeare's Company's production of Macbeth. Anyone want to know about that?
First.
I think the most important guest going has got to be T-Money.
T-Money. Who is T-Money?
Who is he?
What? You've never seen Storage Hunters?
I didn't realise. Oh Christ. No, I've caught the like 5 minutes of Storage Hunters while waiting for something else to come on telly, and I think I vaguely know who T-Money is.
Damn man, you missing out.
He's a legend.
He's the gangster.
Money.
The only gangster there.
The only gangster in the whole of Storage Hunters.
Money.
That certainly qualifies into a period of comic event.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure what the crack is there, but you know.
Well, why not?
Why not?
It'll be funny.
Quite a few from Star Wars, which is quite encouraging.
Yeah. Is T-Money going to interview all the other people? Because I would watch that.
Yeah. With a bit of luck. That's an idea for the guys at Stoke Con Trent.
Yeah.
Get T-Money.
So who the hell are you? The Sixth Doctor of what?
Money. On to other people. We've got Mark Silk, the voice of Johnny Bravo.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Damn.
Norman Lovett, Holly from Red Dwarf.
Mm-hmm.
Jake's favourite here, Guy Siner, the guy dressed as a Nazi.
Yes, but I don't get it. Like we IMDb'd this guy and we couldn't work out why he's dressed as a Nazi.
No, he's playing a hell of a lot of stuff.
Gruber in LOLO.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Does that make any sense?
That makes significantly more sense. But it's just he's done a lot of other things as well. Like he's got a really long list of good things that he's done, and he's here as a Nazi. It's the kind of thing that sort of follows you around.
You do it once, you're going to regret it.
Yeah, exactly.
Boise's going to be there from Only Fools and Horses.
Yes. I think they've got the van as well. I was reading.
I've seen the van somewhere, and Kit. I do
Yes.
believe.
Yeah.
The Knight Rider itself.
They've got a DeLorean, but the angle they've kind of shot it at looks really weird. It kind of looks like it's what they call those cars with like 3 wheels.
Oh
Like,
right.
it just looks really crap. So,
Yeah, get a new
links on the
picture, guys.
attractions tab. Let me
Oh,
just
they've
see. Let me see if I can.
They've got a Keith Lemon look-alike as well. Yeah,
Here we
boy.
go, Keith Lemon. Yeah, here we go. It's just listed as the Back to the Future car as well.
Yeah, I love.
Um,
I was just about to say, I love the way the website is advertised in such like an absolute noob manner. Knight Rider car.
The new manner.
Future car.
Oh right, yeah. So the picture that they've got for the Back to the Future car is just a DeLorean.
Yeah, I'm just sharing it here. So here we go. It
Yeah,
just looks
it's
really kind of squished, and I think it is just a DeLorean.
It's not the DeLorean, no.
I don't know if it's necessarily.
It's a DeLorean.
There's certainly no flux capacitor in that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's just a DeLorean. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing this thing now.
The Knight Rider car, KIT. What does that stand for?
Oh Christ, you're really testing my geek cred here.
Some abbreviation skills here.
Oh God, I can't remember. It's something to do with the intelligence, isn't it? I think. Is it something intelligent? Something.
I've
It's
got nothing.
Knight Industries 2000.
Nice.
KITT.
Again, we're talking about sort of strained puns and acronyms. That was another sort of all-nighter with some not very creative people. So,
Definitely.
never mind.
Definitely. Yes, I mean it's looking like it's going to be a pretty cool event.
Definitely.
You know, might put our little town on the map.
Hmm.
For anybody, you know, obviously we've got quite a few viewers from overseas and out of the EU. Stoke Con Trent is a tiny little town in the middle of Manchester and Birmingham in the UK, and we don't normally see this sort of stuff. So full credit to the guys, you know, that have organised it and put it together and decided to include us in their little tour.
Yeah. 6 towns connected by a road that call themselves a city.
Yeah.
That stopped growing in the 70s when they couldn't sell pottery anymore. So
Pretty
it is great.
That's our history. But you know, hopefully the people of Stoke will embrace this thing, and you know, we'll get it again next year. And
Yeah. Have you picked your costume theme yet, Chris?
oh well, you know, who knows? You know, I've got various, you know, Doctor Who memorabilia knocking about that I could certainly use. I've got a Spider-Man costume that I could dust off.
Nice.
Ben,
Nice.
you could bring your hammer, couldn't you?
Oh man, I haven't even got it anymore.
You have a hammer, as in a Thor's hammer.
Yes,
That's
I had
on the website.
I had a replica Mjolnir. No, sorry, the real deal.
Surely you can just like hold your hand out.
But
And
I borrowed
wherever
it
it
from
is.
somebody.
Wherever it is, it just flies to your
Yeah,
hand.
Ben, just try holding your hand out at the side of the video. That's
Ah! No, wait.
it'll be like that bit in Avengers. You just have to wait a while. It's got to kind of like go through some things and.
Yeah, through some people.
I'd be quite impressed if it just crashes into the floor though, shortly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you found that.
I did not know I had.
The
So did you find
Bifrost
that
is
at the
open.
bottom of a meteorite crater, sort of kind of in a rock.
Yeah, nobody could lift it, but Ben just bowled down. Yep, I'll have that.
Ah, he's looking
Thanks
for
for
that.
saving this for me, guys.
Yeah, so yeah, who knows? I'll keep that a secret for the day, I think. And then we'll throw some pictures up of whatever costumes we all decide to go in.
Awesome. I discovered this weekend that just when I wear a hood, I look like a Jedi. So that's nice.
There you go. Simple costume ideas.
So simple. Grow a beard. There is.
Grow a beard, wear a hood. You're a Jedi.
Yeah, you're a Jedi. Really easy. You've probably got a hood. It's 28th of September. It's a Sunday, a one-day event, and has Kapow and Bang on the poster.
Well, there you go. What more do you need to advertise something like that than Kapow and Bang?
Damn straight. No, as much as I'm taking the piss, it is really cool that they're actually doing a full-scale comic event.
We are taking a cynical approach to this, but just want to say sort of thanks to the guys again that are organising it, for bringing it here, and hopefully we'll embrace it with mucho gusto.
Yeah, a cynical approach is probably the best way to approach almost any event that takes place in Stoke Con Trent.
Yeah. Then you can only be surprised.
Yeah, a faint air of disappointment is by far the safest emotional state to approach anything.
Yeah, that's what we used to, and we just love to be surprised.
Yes. Where is it actually?
It's the LRV at Staff's Uni.
Cool. Awesome.
I do believe.
Yeah.
So it's a nice sized venue.
Damn straight. Big old hall. Awesome.
So moving on from that, I've decided that if I get another notification from somebody asking me to play a mobile game with them on my Facebook, they're getting banned straight away. They're getting blocked, unfriended.
Yep.
Bold move.
I don't want to play Popper Piggy Pear Saga, whatever it's called, or Candy Crush or anything like that. So don't even ask me, because I will just delete you.
It's fair. The one strike rule. I've operated it for some time, and it definitely works. Because if anything, you feel like an enabler almost. Really, it's like somebody saying like, "Oh, will you mind? Do you want to play Candy Crush Saga? Because then I'll get an extra life and I can play it a bit more today." And I want to help my friends. I don't want that to happen. So in the same way that if somebody asks you for money to buy crack, you say no. I think this is the only fair way.
That is a fantastic way of putting it.
Yeah. So you're only enabling them. Kids. Say no to Candy Crush.
Say no to Candy Crush. Did those guys try to trademark the word saga?
Yes.
Yeah,
oh Christ.
I think I get the air of deja vu. I think we've spoke about this particular thing before.
We did. Yeah, briefly. It was they're a company called King.
Yeah.
And they've got like Candy Crush Saga, Farm Heroes Saga, and other games ending with Saga. And they wanted to attack a game called The Banner Saga, which was made by about 2 people.
Yes.
And it was about Vikings.
Yes, which is a fantastic game. If you get a chance to play it, I've had a go myself, and it was brilliant.
Yeah. So, a very appropriate use of the word saga from the 2 guys making the game about Vikings.
Yes, definitely.
Less than appropriate use for the Match 3 colour game. But no, they felt that they had the claim to it, and because they're worth billions.
Oh, the money is just phenomenal that machine just makes.
Yeah, that was a few months ago. I'm not sure what's happened with that. I think the Banner Saga is still on sale, which generally implies that it's probably okay.
Well, surely anybody with the right mind would realise that you can't trademark that.
Yeah, exactly. But
I think King was sending a message out, to be honest, to the smaller companies that if you try and hijack our success by using something you might associate with our games, basically you're going to get screwed over. Because I think that the filing of the trademark or the legal action that they were taking actually got dropped at some point. So
cool.
I think it was literally them just sort of flexing their muscles, like, don't mess with us.
Yeah. And they were trying to stamp out a sort of legitimate problem, which is that, especially with how badly like the iPhone store is designed, if you search for kind of games with sort of candy in, you spell it slightly wrong, then other things will come up. So they wanted to basically get rid of a lot of copycat games. So if you called your game, I don't know, Chocolate Crush Saga, and someone just kind of searched for Saga, then your game might come up, and then that would take sales away from King. Well, that's kind of what they were worried about, apparently. Or that's what they said. So this is the reason why we're doing
sales.
Yeah. Basically,
because,
they're worried
because
about
$100
other
million
copycat things.
dollars a day isn't enough.
Yes. No, we need $2 billion a day. So it's, which I kind of I can understand, but I mean I've just moved to London, and it's not quite as bad as it was, but there was certainly a time where every single time you got onto a tube, there was at least a couple of people playing it, or playing a game where you had to tap your iPhone a lot, I think. And I guess we sort of touched on this in the past maybe, but sort of about kind of addiction to gaming and things like that. Because I don't know what you get out of games like that really, apart from just the kind of warm, fuzzy sense of accomplishment.
Well, you've got to think. I mean, mobile games are sort of taking over the world in essence. Everybody's got one of these. We can play hundreds, thousands of games, free games that cost under 50p, under £1. There's so much money to be made, and King are one of the sort of front runners there. You've got Candy Crush Saga, Bubble Witch Saga, Farm Heroes, whatever else that they do. So companies are going to cotton on to that. Obviously, there's a few big names out there that do the mobile games, but it'd be interesting to see when the likes of Sony and Microsoft and even Nintendo are really getting into the mobile scene rather than just sort of the companion apps, because they're great. Obviously, they supplement your sort of console gaming, which is cool. I mean, because we are mostly console gamers or PC gamers, but I'm sure that the day will come when they're going to start investing some real money into mobile games.
You see, we're starting to see a lot of sort of partner apps, aren't we, for games now? There was one for Assassin's Creed where you could download the mobile app to. I don't know what it actually did, but you could download it. There's the one for Destiny. Warcraft's got a really good partner app. So they're sort of starting into the mobile scene in that respect. But I agree, when they start actually producing games based on that format, then we could be seeing some interesting stuff.
Yeah, because Square Enix have done a little bit of it, but they've released some horrible mobile games. Like their Final Fantasy mobile versions are ridiculously overpriced compared to the sort of rest of the iPhone store. Like they're kind of retailing like 15, 16 quid or something, which is just completely nonsensical. If you're looking at other games on a mobile, you only really want to drop £1 or £2 at most.
Well, this is it. It's the wrong sort of business model, because what the mobile games tend to do is hook you for free and then get you to spend 49p on this, and £1 on this, and microtransactions that you don't sort of realise you're making at the time.
Yeah,
that's sort of the business model for most mobile games. So to price one up at 15 to 20 quid just seems like the wrong way to go to attack the market.
Yeah, because you kind of want the convenience, don't you? You don't want to put a fat stack down to get a game that you might only play in passing. You want, if you're going to pay, you might pay something like £5 at the absolute maximum, in my opinion. And again, you've got something that's pick up and play if you're travelling, or if you're bored at work on your breaks, or whenever you get a chance to do it. But it's not something that you invest real time in. And I think £15, £16 is a hell of a lot of money to invest into a little mobile game.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the idea about investing real time, because people play these games when they don't have anything else to do. At least, or I do. Like you play it on the tube. You play it when you're sort of hanging out waiting for something. You don't sort of sit down and say, I'm going to play a mobile game now.
Yeah. I've sort of separated out this game time for me to play on, whatever, Jurassic Park Builder. Or,
and I think it does show how kind of short-sighted Square Enix was, even kind of almost bringing a Final Fantasy game to mobile. Like, as in, it's like, I'm going to play 10 minutes of Final Fantasy on my train ride somewhere, maybe.
Yeah.
It's just, when are you going to play this? And I'm going to pay 15 quid for the privilege. Odd. But I think it's tricky, especially kind of when I guess you're sort of talking about people getting addicted to kind of mobile games and things. I think there's a danger of sort of sounding a bit superior, maybe, if you're kind of playing on PlayStation or PC or whatever, because I know that I've lost so much of my time to kind of so-called full-price games that you do sit down and carve out time for.
Yeah.
You sound a bit like an alcoholic insulting a heroin addict in some ways. It's like, well, at least I'm not addicted to that shit.
You know? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but this crack pipe's tasty.
It's like we all have our compulsions, I guess. And I think it's really exciting that that mobile phones have evolved to the point where you can play games as complicated as like a Final Fantasy game anywhere.
Yeah, I think mobile games and like the technology in mobile phones is making consoles like the Vita and the DS and things absolutely pointless now, to the extent where one day the companies, Sony, Nintendo, whatever, Sony obviously make phones as it is, but they might send people towards those devices rather than a specific device that just does gaming, because everything that I can do on a Vita I can also do on a brand new Sony phone, apart from having the convenient control sticks and whatnot, the buttons. It's just.
But I remember I had the previous Xperia Play. That was my phone before, and that did have a sort of slide.
Oh yeah, that flipped out, didn't it, into a gamepad underneath.
Yeah, which was a really smart design for a phone. I mean, it made the phone a bit more bulky. Obviously, it will do, but it was a really good feature.
I would happily trade that off there if it meant getting Vita quality games on a mobile phone, and I'm sure that in the future we'll probably see more of that.
Yeah, definitely. Or at least handheld devices that like obviously your Vita, you can use Skype on it and effectively use it as a mobile phone anyway, providing you've got an internet connection.
Yeah. Does anybody ever use a Vita as a mobile phone?
I've actually used it. I've used it for Skype a few times when I accidentally rolled my office chair over my headset.
I'm not sure that counts, but all right. Yeah, I take your point, Ben, that like it does kind of make handheld consoles a little bit pointless. I think Nintendo are kind of still in the game because the DS has got such a good market with kids. And Nintendo have and probably always will make toys at the end of the day. Like they make video game consoles to sell to children. It's the model that worked with the SNES back in the 90s. It's the model that worked really well with the Wii, and it's the model that's probably still working for them to some degree. Whereas if you're talking about the Vita's like trying to be a serious gaming platform, and no adult wants to carry one, and kids can get so many more games so much cheaper that are more appropriate for them on a DS.
I wouldn't say so. I think Sony have dropped the ball a little bit with the Vita. I think that they are not giving really enough time of day to the Vita. They did the same with the PSP though. They bigged it up. It was this massive handheld console, PlayStation 2 quality games, and then it released, and then it didn't have any games for about 6 months.
They also dropped the ball with it, like in terms of post-launch support. Like it just, they didn't support it at all. Like it has sort of the ability to kind of download PlayStation 2 games to it, doesn't it, through like the Sony store. And one thing that would have been really nice would have been for them to perhaps give you the games for free, or kind of really cut down if you say already own them on PlayStation 2, or try and get the entire PS2 library up there as quickly as possible, at the very least, for a really budget price. And they didn't. Just kind of.
I mean, I got a PS Vita at launch. Barely played a game on it. Yeah. I played through half of Uncharted. I played through half of Assassin's Creed. That's it. It's been redundant, other than that time when I used it for Skype.
Almost accidentally.
Well, it was a means to an end. But I could have had a much better Christmas present that year.
Oh. It was a sad Christmas in the Abraham.
Well, no. I asked for it. I just didn't know how much I was not going to enjoy it.
I don't think that that's necessarily anyone's fault but Sony's, though, or the companies that they are charging to make games for it. They want the likes of Ubisoft and EA to commit resources and finances towards making these games that they want to peg as AAA, but they're trying to put them on a little handheld console that has I mean, I don't know how many sold through. Maybe 30 million. I couldn't even be sure. But they don't sell that well. So I just don't understand why. That's perhaps why Nintendo are going the way they're going.
I never understood the price on it as well. The titles on it were close to standard AAA console prices.
Exactly. And who wants to pay? I mean, we already talked about that with like Final Fantasy. Like, who the hell wants to pay close to sort of 30-40 quid to play a game on a handheld?
Exactly. I mean, I was looking at Call of Duty on that. It was like $34.99. I was like, well, I wouldn't pay that for the console version.
I mean, I suppose the Vita handheld console itself will give you a purer gaming experience than a mobile phone or a tablet. I'll give them that, and it's got the pedigree of the PlayStation brand. It is a really smart device, but at the same time, it's the same kind of thing again, where you are probably going to be using it while you're in transit or when you've got a few minutes spare, but they want to try and encourage you to play it as though you put the PlayStation 4 pad down and pick up the Vita. It's just not going to happen, is it?
Now, one of the things that it did really well that I enjoyed was the augmented reality stuff. I don't know if you saw any of that.
I didn't actually. What kind of things did it do?
They did that card game, didn't they?
You basically you got about nine of these cards when you bought the Vita, and you placed the cards on the deck. And there was this one game where you popped fireworks. So you held the camera of the Vita over your table, and where these cards were, there came little houses were there instead, and the fireworks came up from these houses on your desk. So you're looking at your desk through the screen of the Vita, but there's houses on there and fireworks coming up. And
that's cool.
It was just a little game as a sort of demo of what AR can do, but I think it's a sort of it could really be used to make some interesting sort of gaming experiences, and not only gaming experiences. There's a comic app on there where if you buy a physical comic book, there's certain panels that have got the AR logo in the corner, and you hold your augmented reality camera over the top, and that panel will then come to life, and it'll be animated on the screen in front of you.
That's awesome.
So
cool.
It's got some really sort of cool implications for future use, but I just don't think it just didn't seem to be supported that well.
Yeah, and that's what I mean about Sony just leaving it to die almost. I think it would be a tricky thing to make work. And we might be sort of sitting here talking about how Sony wasted like loads of money pumping loads of resources into the Vita and are now bankrupt. But instead we're kind of talking about that they wasted loads of money creating this lovely thing that they never really kind of backed up, because it was a really nice device.
It still is.
It still is.
I'm sure
and
if
also
and dust it off, it'll still be lovely.
Yeah, and the PlayStation Store these days has got so much better in terms of the things that are available and kind of free to play stuff, and there's just so much on there and so much support. And if the Vita was still a viable platform, then those two things combined could make it really something quite interesting.
I think if they bring the price of the Vita right down, it'll be fantastic as a companion device to PS3 and PS4. I mean, you can already do remote play with PS4, which is cool. It doesn't necessarily work with all games because the control scheme can be a little bit awkward. But there's a lot of cross-buy and cross-save where if you're buying like indie titles, for instance, you can then transfer your save file across all your 3 devices. So if you start, for instance, Guacamelee, which is a really awesome little indie game, on the PS3, you can transfer your save across to the Vita, and then transfer it to the PS4, and then you can just carry on playing the same game. So even if you've only got 10 minutes on the train, you could perhaps do another level, but then you don't lose that progress, and you can take that into the main game on the console. I think that's probably its best use as a companion app. I can't name one AAA title coming out on the Vita this year that isn't also coming out on PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I had Little Big Planet 2 that I was playing through, and that had a whole set of levels that were designed for the Vita. So you used the Vita in conjunction with your PS3, and there were certain features that you had to use, like the rear touchpad on the Vita to do, and you had to hold it up to the screen to see through walls and stuff like that, and it was a really ingenious sort of way of making it a companion device, and I think that definitely might be a way to take it forward.
Definitely. I think I agree that they need to bring the price down. Like, it's still, I've just looked it up there, and it's still retailing on Amazon at 160, which is a lot to spend on what is essentially another controller for your PlayStation, I suppose, at this point in time.
I've actually just dug mine out now.
Yeah. Whereas the Nintendo DS is a much more manageable 80. You know, so... Ooh, what the hell is that growling noise?
I have no idea.
That's my dog in the corner.
Right.
I think he's having a nightmare or something. Asleep growling.
Podcast featuring Ben's dog. So,
yeah, we're gonna have to credit him in the.
I think so.
In the comments section.
Still going on.
It'll be Jake and Chris and Ben and Ben's dog. Good.
So talking about sort of mobile device gaming, you mentioned Nintendo before.
Yeah.
Now they're doing a new Pokemon for iPad, is it?
Yeah, they're bringing the sort of digital version of the Pokemon trading game to the iPad. So it's going to be pretty much a direct competitor to Hearthstone, which is one of the most brilliant games that's come out in recent times.
And free to play, sort of.
Yeah, it's free to play. Yeah, I doubt Nintendo will go free to play, but if they charge just about the right price, then I mean, it's Nintendo, it's Pokemon, it's a big thing, it's a massive franchise, so it's one of their biggest as well. So that they are committing to go towards mobile gaming in that sense is it's something for them. I did read an article, I think about a year ago. It feels like a year ago anyway, and they had mentioned that they were going to be focusing more on the mobile gaming market because obviously it's massive in Japan.
Yeah.
And it's pretty big globally, but over there it's crazy big. I think the sales of the PlayStation 4 have been pretty dire in Japan because the mobile gaming market is just that big these days that home consoles are just dying out a little bit. So you can see why Nintendo have definitely chosen to go that way.
Yeah.
Cool. Have they released many, or indeed any, kind of iPhone, iPad games so far? I can't think of any off the top of my head. Then conversions of anything, or
I'm not really sure at this point. I think, but they're the kind of company that probably will hold on tightly to their intellectual property, and they won't release it until it's ready or until they make the decision that it's the right time. So far I haven't seen anything.
I still don't think it'll be as good as been in the school playground, trading those cards and got need I'll swap you 10 of these.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's the one big thing that's missing from Hearthstone, weirdly, is the ability to trade cards.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I'm wondering if the ability to trade will actually make it into the Pokemon trading card game.
Yeah.
Well, you would hope so.
I haven't played the... Is this a brand new one, or is it like a version of something that already exists? As in, is it actually a brand new game?
I
think it is, isn't it, Ben?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm sure that they're going to have to make some changes, aren't they? It'll never transfer directly across from.
So it's the physical Pokemon trading card game.
It is effectively they've made a digital version of the physical trading card game.
That makes sense. Kind of like the Magic games, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Makes sense. And yeah, that would be pretty much directly competitive with Hearthstone.
But you never know. One day we might actually get the Pokemon game that everybody wants.
What's that, Chris?
A fully rendered 3D MMO Pokemon experience.
Yes.
I'd wear my cap backwards for that.
I would probably go out and buy a Wii U or whatever Nintendo console it was on just to play that game.
Yeah.
And only for that game because
an iPhone probably.
Yeah.
It's yeah, that would be awesome. It's very rare that I say that an existing game would be improved by crowbarring in MMO elements, but yeah, Pokemon, that makes sense.
Well, you just got to take Pokemon Red or Blue and take it off the Game Boy and put it in a 3D environment with other players about it. It'd just be... Surely that would be one of the biggest games ever.
Exactly.
I mean, they've already taken a few steps into that direction, haven't they? With the latest, I can't remember what they're called now.
Omega,
the new X and
Sapphire,
Y. X and Y.
like
They've made them sort of a mini 3D adventure. They've been starting to try and introduce those elements since the beginning of the sort of 3DS Pokemon era.
But I'm sure if they...
I would love to see that, like, fully cel-shaded graphics, it'd be amazing.
I'm sure if they developed that for a sort of PC platform, brought it out with a subscription fee, that'd just sort any of their money worries out.
You're probably right.
What worries do Nintendo have?
Well, the Wii U's not doing great.
Well, they had a bit of a rough time a year or two ago, didn't they? They were struggling a bit, but
they've got a lot of money in the bank, though. I think people fail to realise that they don't really splurge like Sony and Microsoft.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess the difference with Nintendo is they don't really change what they do very much over like an extended
it's like
period.
if it's not broke, why fix it?
Yeah, exactly. So
that's why we see constant iterations of Mario and Mario Kart and Zelda and
like, I wonder when the new Zelda game is coming out.
Yeah.
You can time it like the arrival of Halley's Comet. Like, it will come 18 months after the last one has come. Like, or something like that.
They've been getting a bit of pressure off Robin Williams fans to include him in
Zelda.
In the
next Zelda.
Yeah, there's been a petition to include some sort of tribute to him in one of the next titles, and although they haven't said no, they haven't said yes either. They said we can't make any promises for the future, blah blah blah.
Yeah, they're a Japanese company. At the end of the day, I don't know how much traction Robin Williams had outside of the West. Really.
Well, it's more fans, isn't it? I mean, they used Robin Williams and Zelda Williams for an ad campaign.
Oh yes, of course they did. In the States,
in the States
and the EU, they're like, I think we know how to make money out of this. Like,
and I think it must be noted that Robin Williams had an epic beard in that advertising campaign.
Yes,
it was a mighty epic beard.
Yes,
it certainly was.
But yeah, like Robin Williams in a Zelda game would be awesome.
Yeah.
Like, the Robin Williams Warcraft tribute is a great idea. I think gaming should kind of, because gaming has very few people in the mainstream culture, like television, movies, who sort of outwardly come out and say, I play video games. Like Conan O'Brien does a series on YouTube now as part of his show called Clueless Gamer. I don't know if you've checked any of those out.
It's a really good series, that is.
They are brilliant, and it is just about like basically your dad getting to grips with a video game, and the joy, the level of joy in his voice when he's killing guys in Hitman or something like that.
Isn't Conan O'Brien the one that has the sort of live demos on his shows as well, though? Like during his airtime, he has live demos of the games coming onto his shows, I think.
Yeah. He's really, he went to E3 this year and things like that. Like he's kind of got properly into it. He knows what's popular and he kind of runs with that. And he's got one of the most watched shows in America. He's like the Parkinson of America,
but cooler,
but much cooler, and still on television. But like him and Dara O'Brien actually randomly. Talks about video games a lot and how much he likes playing video games.
Doesn't he host the BAFTAs, the game BAFTAs most years?
Yes.
So he's obviously sort of a British, if he wants to be considered British-Irish figurehead for gaming.
I think he would say Irish.
Yeah. But I think so somebody like Robin Williams is important from a gaming culture point of view.
Let's not forget Vin Diesel.
Yes, yeah. You need more people to bridge the gap, basically.
Yeah.
More sort of celebrity icons to say it's okay, you can do this. I was listening to one of Dara O'Brien's stand-up tours, I think from 2010. I forget which one it was now, but he said kind of trying to explain to your 30-something-year-old friends that you play video games is a bit like trying to explain that you masturbate. And it's the conversation goes in roughly the same direction. And people are equally as embarrassed. It's just, he also says like, "Oh, I haven't done that since I was a teenager." It's like, well, the graphics are much better now.
It's true, though. It's true.
Yeah, and it's still an embarrassing thing, and that's another reason why I'm pretty positive about mobile gaming, despite the kind of compulsion issues, despite horrible, massive companies trying to crush smaller ones, is that it does mean that gaming and playing video games is brought more into the mainstream, more into kind of normal culture, and be more kind of accepted as a pastime that isn't a complete waste of time. So, yeah, Robin Williams is important and needs to be remembered in a video game form.
Definitely. I like it. And I think on that note, we'll call time on this week's podcast. As ever, you can follow us on Twitter at Bottle Rocket, or like us on Facebook at facebook.com/BottleRocket. Please subscribe to the video to the YouTube channel if you enjoy the stuff. Please,
we're begging you.
We are begging. If you enjoy it, give us a sub, give us a like, give us a comment. Let us know what you think. Talk to us. We're always happy to talk back. Thanks for watching. I've been Chris.
I've been Jake.
I've been Ben.
And we'll catch you next time.
Ciao.
Peace.